Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share a bit of a different video for me. I'm going to be making some homemade embellishments to use in scrapbook pages, in swaps if you do any of those. I've started to get into the odd Happy Mail swap now, as you've seen from my previous video. But these flowers are really versatile and they're a good way to use up lots of little pieces of scrap paper. So I've got some scrap papers here from some Wild Hair kits and from the Amy Tangerine Hustle and Heart, and just a few kind of plain papers of scraps as well. So I'm going to be using this set of dies which I got from The Works. These were £4, and you get 2 different flowers with 3 different size flowers for each one, so you can layer them up, and it also comes with a little leaf die as well. So what I'm going to be using in addition to this, oh that's the coffee machine, is I also need obviously to cut these out. So I'm going to use a small die cutting machine. So I use the Diamond Press by Crafters Companion. My large die cutting machine is in storage, so I'm not able to use that at the moment. So if you've got a small die, these will run through small dies, die cutters as well. So that could be a useful thing to know. If you've got large ones, then you can do it even quicker than I'm going to be able to, and run multiple dies obviously through your machine at one time. So I'm going to be using some scraps of paper, as I said, and then using a variety of different things in the centre of the flowers. So I'm going to be using brads. I got this pack of 500 brads off of Amazon because I had a few of these from like a crop, and the lady who was running the crop did a little goodie bag, and yeah, there were a load of these in them and I had used them all up, so I ordered some. I didn't really realise how many 500 was. I mean, I know 500 is a lot, but there's so many in there, it's going to take me years to use those up. I've also got some enamel dots at the side here ready to go as well, in case I want to use any of that. But you could use like little diamantes like these, or even, let me find them, these kind of pearl ones as well. So whether you're in the UK or America, I'm sure there's an option available to you. And as I said, or I may have said before, you don't need to use, I don't know if I did actually, you don't need to use these dies. You can use any dies that you have that are floral, and you could even potentially layer up different patterned petals on top of each other. Might look really nice. So I'm just going to show you just one process of this. It's not obviously that complicated, so yeah, I'm not going to spend too long going through what is really a straightforward process. So I just take my die, find some patterns that I like. This is from Amy Tan's Hustle and Heart, and actually these papers are really good. So if you don't have any scraps, I don't know who doesn't have scraps, but if you didn't have any, you could use collection papers that are like this, where you can see it's made up almost like a patchwork. So they can be really nice, plus you know the colours are going to go well together. So something like Paige Evans does a lot like that. I think most of the collections do those kinds of like bundles of patterns in one. So that can be a way to kind of cut down on thinking about what you're going to do. What I normally do is pick a kind of colour family, sort of. I'm not too strict about it. So if I show you some I've pre-cut here, so these are like oranges and yellows. These are pinks and kind of orangey pinks, teals, obviously in teals and blues there. I don't care that there's probably no such thing as a teal flower. This is scrapbooking, this is not real life, so I don't really care about that. I'm going to use a big swatch of pink here, I think, for this. This is my bag of big scraps because I gave away a load of my tiny scraps because it was just getting too much for me to handle. So this is like a really good way if you've got lots of tiny little scraps and you just don't really know what to do with them. So if anyone else feels like that, like I do sometimes, overwhelmed by, you know, wanting to save paper, but then, you know, kind of the realistic nature of that as well, which is that you don't have unlimited storage space for all these things, and you don't necessarily have a frequent need for really tiny offcuts. But yeah, I gave them to a friend of mine who's a primary school teacher, so it was not wasted at all. Or they were not wasted. Kids love stuff like this, don't they? I mean, adults do, look at us. So if you're a kid, you've got to love it. So I like to get some different patterns going. I like some plains, some patterned. You could obviously do them all the same colour, all the same pattern, if you want it to be like a bit more of a realistic flower. But I kind of like this mishmash sort of thing that's going on here. Yeah, so that's, I'm just going to pop these to one side. So that's the decision that I made anyway, was to do it like that. So now you need something that's pointy. It could be one of these. This is like a piercer for bookbinding. You could use like a Tim Holtz piercer. You could use a skewer. That would be perfect actually. So you don't need to purchase anything in particular. And I would think most of us scrapbookers have things in our stash right now that with which we could do this. You know, with minimal effort and not having to go anywhere else to purchase anything. So if you don't have like enamel dots or those, if you've got any of those squeezy ones, I can't remember what they're called. You know, like, oh, I can imagine the bottle, but I can't remember what they're called. But you could use those kind of squeezy enamel dots as well to squeeze into the centre, and then you can make them as big or as small as you like and have your favourite colours and so on. So I just go along and curl every petal on the flower, and I'm just literally rolling this between my finger and the petal there. I love this to add a bit of texture. You can go as textured as you like with this. You can always flatten it out a little bit if you think it's got a bit too much for you. I quite like it like this. And then I'm going to pick a colour to go in the centre. I'm going to use a Brad for this first one, and I think I'm just going to use like a pale pink to bring in some of those pale pink colours. Now I'm going to do this next bit in an incredibly dangerous way, and I would recommend not doing it like this. So I'm just going to pierce through here. And then I'm going to take, you might want to use some foam or something, and I'm just going to take my Brad, push it through the centre, come on, there we go. And it's basically a split pin, isn't it? Well, it is, it's not just basically, it is a split pin. So spread your little split pins out, and then there you have it, there's a flower. Here's a few I made earlier, kind of Blue Peter style there. And they just look really gorgeous, and they would be so cute on scrapbook layouts. You could turn them into other types of embellishments. So here, these flowers I've used to make like a paperclip kind of embellishment. So I've popped the flower on, I used some hot glue and sandwiched the flower between that and a small piece of pattern paper that matched the back pattern here. So I'm just a bit anal like that, so I had to do that. Another type of flower design that came with this die set were these ones that are a bit more like daisies. It might be really nice to just cut these out of white actually, but so with these ones, because there's no, I think it's too small for a Brad to go through the centre. Like I think the Brads are too small. So for this one, I would just lay them up, use a tiny bit of glue. I've got some glossy accents here. PVA would be better really, because this one dries shiny, and it would be better just in case any goes onto the flowers that it doesn't dry shiny, in my opinion anyway. So you can layer them up, and then you can just sandwich them together. So what I'm actually going to try now is I've got some tissue paper here, and I thought I've not actually done this, so I don't know if it's going to come out of the die or if it's going to work or not, but I thought I'd just give it a little go because I saw it and I was like, ooh. But you could definitely use vellum. You could layer up more than 3, and you could get some really, really interesting and nice kind of flowers out of this. So I'm just going to try this in the big size of this, because this should be easier for me to get out of the die than if I do it in the baby size. Just trim that so it will go through the die cutting machine, because I don't really want to hurt the tissue paper. So this is like a gold spotted tissue paper. Oh my giddy aunt, look. So this could be so cute. You could just layer up. Might actually look nice kind of over the top. So yeah, you can just start layering and layering and layering these flowers together. Different textures, different colours. And it could just, oh, just so great. So this is so much fun. and so easy to do. So I'm just going to do this last one here, and then I'm going to show you what I do when it's not tricky at all. So I'm just going to curl the petals again on this one, and curl the petals on this one. I'm just going to curl the petals on every one of them. Same sort of technique as before, squeezing the petals up and round the skewer, or in this case, bookbinding thingy. Accidentally cut too many out of this one, didn't I? So we do that. They're going to sit inside of each other. Use a tiny blob of glue, teeny tiny blob. You really don't need. I'm going to say that, and the glue's not coming out now. So annoying. Must have left the lid off for too long. I quite like to stagger the petals a little bit, rather than have them kind of straight, like perfectly aligned on top of each other, but you can just go with whatever you like. So let me just curl these last few up here. Curl up, right, and then pick a colour to go in the centre. So I think I'm going to use this light pink actually. I was toying with the idea of yellow, but I think it might be a bit too... Oh no, you know what, let's do yellow. So just add an enamel dot. Boom. Job done. So then you've got this sweet little flower. So plenty of versatility with this. You could do it all out of vellum. That would look gorgeous. You could do lots and lots of tissue paper layers and make some really pretty tissue paper flowers as well. Any colours that you like, because I mean, it's scrapbooking, there are no rules, and it might be really nice as well to mix petal shapes and colours together. So I hope you will get your dies out and have a bit of fun making some pretty die cut flower embellishments, and I will see you in my next video. Please like, subscribe, thumbs up, and oh, anything else? No. See you soon. Bye.